Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for according me this opportunity. I rise on the statement of the demise of the former Member of Parliament for Eldoret South constituency, Honorable Dr. Joseph Kiption Arap Misoi. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 259D, subsection 2A, to report the untimely passing on of former Member of Parliament for Eldoret South, the late Honorable Dr. Joseph Kiption Arap Misoi, on Friday, 28 July 2023. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Dr. Joseph Kiption Arap Misoi was born on 25th September 1943. He attended AIC Kapchemoyua Primary School for his CEE in 1952. He then proceeded to AIC Kaptumo for his KAPE, Kenya African Preliminary Exams, where he excelled and joined Government African School, now known as Kapsabet Boys, for his CSC, Cambridge School Certificate, between the years 1960 and 1963. The Honorable Misoi received a scholarship to attend Edvos Lawrence Scientific University for his undergraduate diploma and the University of Veterinary Science in Budapest for his doctorate between the years 1964 and 1970. Thereafter, he proceeded to Copenhagen, Denmark, to the Royal Agricultural and Veterinary College for his advanced postgraduate in food, microbiology, and hygiene, where he was awarded a fellowship of the FAO Veterinary Faculty of the Royal Veterinary and Agricultural History. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Misoi began his career as a senior veterinary officer at the Ministry of Agriculture and lecturer of veterinary public health at the Kenya Meat Commission. He later worked as senior food, agricultural standards and quality control officer. Honorable Misoi joined politics in 1988, following his election as Member of Parliament for then Eldoret South constituency. He served for 2 terms, including as an assistant minister at the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, and later under the office of the Vice President. Known to many as Bwana Majimbo, the late Honorable Misoi fought for multipartyism and was passionate agitator of the Majimboism, then now devolution or devolved government units. In recent years, he served as the Director of Election at the Orange Democratic Movement Party, that is ODM. He is survived by his spouse and 6 children. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf and the people of Keses constituency, I wish to take this opportunity to condole with the family of the late Dr. Joseph Kiption Arap Misoi, his relatives and friends, and the people of Kenya at large. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and probably allow me to use this to ask the honorable members to stand with the family during this difficult moment and offer any support that they can in this honorable house, as he was a member of this honorable house. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the Honorable Dr. Joseph Misoi was a very active member of this house. He served in the 6th and 7th parliaments. Yours truly here was privileged to be with him in the 7th parliament, and he was an extremely committed member of the house. On my behalf and on behalf of the whole house, we extend our condolences to the family, and in respect to the late Honorable Misoi and those who want to know how active he was, you may visit the library and look at Hansard debates. He was famed for being the courageous member who blew the whistle that powder milk had arrived in the country from Ukraine after the Chernobyl disaster. I think it cost him his job as an assistant minister at the time. In respect of the late Honorable Misoi, I ask all members to be upstanding to observe a minute's silence. The students in the galleries, you may also stand. Thank you. I'll give 2 or 3 members an opportunity to eulogize the late MR.MISOI. I'll start with Musa Sirma. Remember, those of you who are members of the ODM party, he was your Secretary General and your Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to join the family and the people of the larger Keyo South in condoling the passing on of our great friend, Dr. MR.MISOI. MR.MISOI was with me in this parliament on the 7th parliament, and he was a great man. He debated very strongly in this house. Dr. MR.MISOI, famously known as Dr. Majimbo, actually was one of the people who wanted devolution in this country. Majimbo at that time was significant to some, saying we're going to have different states, but they didn't understand that it was all about devolution. So, Honorable MR.MISOI, having served this house and served the people of Keyo South, I want to join the Member of Parliament for Eldoret South. I want to join the Member of Parliament for Keses in condoling this great man. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Dr. Nyekalu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to eulogize Dr. MR.MISOI. Mr. Speaker, Dr. MR.MISOI was a professional, hardcore professional, physical science professional who ventured into politics. And Mr. Speaker, it's not very easy for people of hardcore science-based professions to actually stick in politics and do well, because the realities of politics quite often conflict with the perception concept in politics. The physical scientists believe that there is clear, white, and black, which is not what it is in politics. Despite that, he was committed to the service of Kenyans, he was committed to his principles, and I interacted with him several times before I even came into politics, and this thing he was called Majimbo, he actually meant that people in all parts of Kenya should get the services regardless of who is in power. And Mr. Speaker, as he was committed to these principles, he also defied what sometimes is very difficult in our circumstances, particularly in Africa, where politics tend to take ethnic lines. And to that extent, he remained a hardcore member, a committed member of the Orange Democratic Party, even when at times it looks illogical that looking at geopolitics, he should still be there. He stayed there, he was steadfast, he held the positions that he held until his demise. So, Mr. Speaker, this is not the usual ordinary politician, but a committed man who believed in his principle at any cost, sometimes even at expense to himself, as you have been told about the milk in Ukraine. I know with this background, that is something he could not accept, whatever the circumstances were. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to eulogize it on behalf of the people of Seme, and on my own behalf, we pass our greatest apologies, our heartfelt condolences to the people who have lost their great leader, Dr. MR.MISOI, and I think we all in the ODM fraternity appreciate how committed he was. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to join the Member of Parliament for Keses in condoling the family for the very unfortunate loss of indeed a person that I would say he was a great man. Dr. MR.MISOI, Mr. Speaker, happened to be a neighbor of his in his constituency. Although I live in Ainabkwe, but I have also a property close to him. I have known him, Mr. Speaker, as a man who stands for what he thinks is right, and he doesn't leave. Whenever I meet him, he would tell me, you people, why don't you do politics in the right way? People who are not firm on something. And that is the reason why, when we left ODM in 2007, Mr. Speaker, after the elections, he continued to remain in ODM himself up to today. He never left.
He's dead now.
Yes, although he's dead. It's true, Mr. Speaker is no longer with us, yes. But his last station was ODM. Yeah, he's still with you in spirit. So, Mr. Speaker, so he is one man who has defied all odds. In fact, he was the only ODM member in that area. It's called Chepolol, Mr. Speaker. Everybody else inside there, in that village, is a UDA member. He was the only one, and he is an official of ODM. That tells you that this is a man who was very firm in his principles. You know, you don't have to run away from the heat. Just stay there, even if you are the only one. You become the only one arm standing, Mr. Speaker, in a cause in which you believe it is right. So we would like to eulogize, this is a great man who stood for what was right. And we want to convey, on behalf of the people of Ainabkoi, to convey our very sincere condolences to the family of the late Dr. MISOI. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ferdinand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to console with the member of KSS. And I can tell you this Mr. Majimbo was a very outspoken person. You could hear him on the KBC. This is when you have the matekeo kutoka bunge. So they call it, and he was a very, very outspoken person. I knew him because at that time, the Speaker also wanted to become a member of Parliament. And actually, I went to his home, and I want just to tell you my brother here that even my son married in the cases, and I knew this as a member of Parliament, former member of Parliament. And so I take this opportunity on the behalf of the people of Kwanza to say pole sana, and may God bless his peace. Thank you.
Wangwe, you'll be the last. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the great people of Nabaholo and the entire ODM fraternity, Honorable Speaker, where the late Dr. MISOI worked for, I wish to convey my sincere condolences to the entire community that he attended to while serving as a member of Parliament. Honorable Speaker, Swahili people say, ukiona vyaelea vyaundwa. When you see ODM today, it's because, Honorable Speaker, Dr. MISOI was, and he existed then as SG and later on served as Executive Director. Honorable Speaker, we enjoy what he served, what he did for us, and wish him well as he rests in his eternity. God rest his soul in eternity.
Last Deputy Majority Leader, Owen Bayer.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to condole with the people of Keses and my brother and my friend. We say pole for the loss of Dr. MISOI. And Honorable Speaker, I did not share time with Dr. MISOI in the chamber, but there are a few things I knew about him as a young person. One, he embodied the spirit of Ronald Ngala, the spirit of Majimbo. After Ngala, probably the person who came out very strongly about Majimbo, even during the writing of the new constitution, I think Dr. MISOI
Ngala and Muliro.
Ngala and Muliro and Masinde Muliro. Yeah. He came out very, very strongly. And it reminds me, Honorable Speaker, of the tripartite life between the Western Kenya coast and Rift Valley during that time when KADU was formed, and the strength with which KADU brought into the democratization process of this country. So we'll always remember Dr. MISOI for his astuteness and his contribution to this parliament and how he served his people of Keses in this parliament. Honorable Speaker, there are many lessons we learn from this great man. And one of them is that staying and being active in parliament pays, such that young people who were young then can still remember someone. I want to ask the young members of parliament here to emulate Dr. MISOI. Stay in this house, contribute, make a contribution so that one day when we have to sign your book outside there, people can say things about you because you served this country, not in the streets, not anywhere else, but you made a contribution in this parliament. I thank you, and I pray that God rest his spirit in eternal peace. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, Maclap, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sure
I also want to join my colleague, Honorable RUTO from Keses, which was formerly Eldoret South, where the late Dr. Joseph MISOI was a member of parliament. Mr. Speaker, at my youthful age, as an admiring politician, I admired Joseph MISOI for principles. That is a person that believed in Kenya. Very few of us politicians today believe in personalities instead of believing in their country. Dr. Joseph MISOI, a veterinary doctor, is one astute, challenging politician who believed in Kenya and wanted devolution as a way of changing lives of the people of Kenya that live in far-flung areas or they have been marginalized by regimes and governments. Mr. Speaker, I admired him as an academician, as a person who had a focus and steadfastness in his ideologies for Kenya. Mr. Speaker, that is one son of the Kalenjin nation who actually had joined their forefathers, who actually wanted Kenya to become a federal state or a Machimbo state at the onset of independence. Mr. Speaker, may